This was years ago, probably late 80s, early 90s, something like that. I was working here in the summertime at that point. And there was a customer that called us in service and said, we've got an unusual situation here. We have an instrument that was in a flood. Our mill was flooded. The river that runs right next to our mill, it was in Maine, was flooded. And so the water came up, it took over a lot of the mill, and in fact it took over the lab. And so one of the pieces of equipment that was in the lab was one of our micro TB-1C instruments. And so they said, you know, the insurance is wanting to look at these things and decide, you know, what is trash and what we can use. So can we send you the instrument and see if we can get it running? So we said, sure. And so they delivered the instrument. We unboxed it, and when it came out, it had mud caked all over it. And when they opened the hood, there was mud and dirt and grass and things inside of it. So they took the instrument out behind the building and literally took a hose and sprayed it down with a hose and shot all the mud and muck and stuff out of it and just let it sit out there for a day or two and let it dry out. They brought the instrument back in, plugged it in, and it came on. And it was actually functional. I don't know if they could calibrate it or not, but it was functional. But in the end, they decided that the insurance would pay to replace it anyway, so they didn't want the mud-bogged instrument. But it did actually work after the flood. It survived the flood, so in Maine. So.